If your history teacher did her job, you'd probably realize that history is just a lot of salacious gossip. And now with my segment called Ye Olde Gossip, I'm going to teach you all about how a 19th century judge's obsession with a famous actress shaped history in Southwest Texas.
Hear ye, hear ye! Come forth, all Instagram baddies and crypto bros, for the most salacious gossip in the whole village. Abby's done the work to bring you Ye Olde Gossip.
You've probably never heard of a guy named Judge Roy Bean, because calling him a judge is sort of like calling Katy Perry an astronaut. However, what this man lacked for in qualifications, he made up for in vibes, because Judge Roy Bean made Judge Judy look like a shrinking violet. So today we're in 19th century Langtree, Texas. And like all men who think too highly of themselves, Judge Roy Bean had a nickname for himself. He gave himself the title, the Law West of the Pecos, which sounds super cool until you realize the only thing he was qualified to judge were his own shady decisions. Now, don't get it twisted. This guy wasn't appointed as judge by some law official. He literally woke up one day and was like, yeah, I think I'll be judge. And then the entire town of Langtree, Texas did the equivalent of thumbs-upping an iMessage and just went along with it. So if Judge Roy Bean is the king of the law in Langtree, Texas, his castle is his saloon. He named it the Jersey Lily after a British actress that he was so obsessed with, but he had never met before. It's as if I opened up a club called the Harry Styles and then walked around telling people I named it after my boyfriend. And let me tell you, Langtree, Texas, hottest club is the Jersey Lily. This place has everything. A bar, a courtroom, a portrait of Lily Langtree hanging up like some kind of deity, and a real-life pet bear walking around inviting patrons. This is all factual.
There was an actual bear?
Yes, just walking around. He had a pet bear. And if you thought the combination Dunkin' Donuts Baskin Robbins was revolutionary, this place would have blown your mind. Because imagine rolling up to jury duty and getting to order a round of shots to get you through a sentencing, because this place was also a courtroom. And truthfully, in Langtree, Texas, this courtroom would have been the hottest ticket in town, because not only was it a saloon, but Judge Roy got to be the judge at the Jersey Lily, and he would get pretty creative with the law. One time, he fined a corpse $40 for carrying a concealed weapon, which basically means he turned a murder trial into a 19th century Venmo request.
Neat.
And Roy was also a fan of very unusual punishments. Like, sure, he could throw a guy into jail for stealing a horse, but wouldn't it be way more sick if he bought the whole courtroom a round of beers instead? And if Roy Bean isn't following,
Wait a minute. So the punishment for the horse thief was that he had to buy everybody a round of beers?
Yeah, isn't that better than prison? Everyone just got to take a shot of Fireball.
That's fine.
Everybody wins. He learns his lesson. Y'all get a little tipsy.
I'm not mad at it.
So if Roy Bean's not following, the actual American law, what is this man's moral compass? Well, many historians believe Roy's judicial rulings were heavily influenced by the idea of this British actress named Lily Langtree, who, by the way, has no association to the name of Langtree, Texas. That's just a fun coincidence. So he would literally sentence people in a certain way if he felt as if it would bring honor to her. He'd be like, Jedediah, I'm sentencing you for the murder of Cletus, or sentencing you for the murder of Cletus is weighing heavy on my heart. I'm gonna let you go. Miss Langtree wouldn't want blood on my hands. And the court was essentially being run by his imaginary girlfriend. And of course, Roy is also writing letters to this woman in this time, because you couldn't have a DM. You couldn't slide into the DMs and be like, hey, Lily Langtree. So he'd sit down at his saloon, probably with a shot of Fireball, and he'd write her a letter and be like, my dearest Lily Langtree, today I sentenced a man to pose as a scarecrow for 3 days in your honor after he was convicted of robbing several banks. I hope this act of mercy does you proud. And then he'd send it off, and he'd probably be like, yeah, she's going to think that's the hottest thing she's ever read. And obviously this is really embarrassing for him, because Homegirl never wrote back because, she's famous. She never loved him, but you know who did? The citizens of Langtree, Texas. They were devastated when this man died. You would have thought it was like being in Memphis when Elvis died. He was treated like a war hero. The entire town went into mourning. And the kicker is, a year after he died, famous actress Lily Langtry finally moseyed her way into town, and she probably strolled into the Jersey Lily, took one look at the shrine of her on the wall and thought, glad I never answered those letters. That's frightening. And got on the first ship back to the UK. So, if you ever feel a sense of imposter syndrome, just think back to Judge Roy Bean's legacy. He sentenced people to death while playing poker. He owned a pet bear that bit people and devoted his entire life to a woman who didn't even know he existed. And they still gave him a statue.
Loser.
What a loser.
What a total loser.
With the original parasocial relationship. Totally just directing every law decision he made in Langtry, Texas.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
The Bert Show.